Hello, everyone. Hope everyone's doing fine today. This is Scott Restivo with Crow Canyon Software. We're going to be doing a webinar on HR help desk software with some AI-powered capabilities that I think you'll find very interesting. We'll go through the basic HR program, help desk program, and then get into AI elements, which are part of what we call our NITRO Copilot initiative. The help desk program is built on our IT program, and it's a variation of it. We have many cases where we start with the basic help desk concept. For IT, it makes a very commonly used program, but the same concept of request management or help desk or support applies to many other departments. And we have a lot of interest, a lot of people using the HR version of the help desk, which is tweaked obviously for HR departments. And you're going to see some interesting things about how this new AI-powered capabilities with NITRO Copilot are helping enhance the whole experience for end users and for staff, with the idea of streamlining operations and providing better efficiencies. So here's a brief thing about Crow Canyon to start. This is me, CEO of the Crow Canyon Software. I do a lot of travel. Maybe I've met some of you people. I'm going to Phoenix next week for community days, and I've been at a lot of the tech cons and other big events, and along with James and Carolyn and others. They were in Dallas recently, so hopefully we meet some of you in person, and others have been. I think some of people on the webinar have been our customers for many years, so glad you could join us. Just a little bit about Crow Canyon Software very briefly. Been around 25 years. We're headquartered in California, California certified business, small business. We have offices all around the world that we have. James is over in Rhode Island, our office is Rhode Island. Chris is on the call, she's over in Illinois. And we have people throughout the country, as well as development groups and partners across the world. We do a lot with Australia recently. We have a group in India, and we're working with LATAM market, Panama and Guatemala and Colombia. Of course, a lot in Europe also, Canada, Mexico. So pretty widespread, a broad reach, and all using our business process automation tools mostly on the Microsoft 365 platform, or if you have SharePoint on premises, it works there also and then on the Microsoft 365, Teams comes along with it. So providing a lot of benefit to many, many companies throughout the world of all sizes, government, big government, state government, manufacturing, education, whatever, you name it. We're in almost every industry out there. A lot with healthcare actually recently has been a big one. So let's see. What I'm going to do, that's what I'm going to say. First, if you have any questions, put them in the question box on your GoToWebinar panel. James and Chris are here to help and answer any questions that come up. We will record the webinar and make it available to you by a link, put it on YouTube, on our YouTube channel, which you should check out anyway. We have a YouTube channel, of course, LinkedIn channels. We do a lot of social posting, so you can follow us on LinkedIn and follow us on YouTube. But the webinar will go up there. And also, if you have any questions that aren't answered or come up later, or you want to bring other people in, we really like to do one-on-one demos, one-on-one engagement with you guys, because that's where we can really find the exact requirements and talk about the installation and fit it to your needs. This is something where people have different needs, different requirements, different IT structures, many different arrangements, and maybe you want to integrate with other programs. So with all those kind of things we can discuss much more in depth on a one-on-one call, one-on-one demo. And this other side of it is just we on this side really enjoy talking to people who have different situations throughout the world or throughout the country or in different industries, different departments, and find out what their needs are and how we can best serve to meet their needs. So what I'm going to do now is just jump right into kind of going right under the covers in the HR help desk. I'm kind of doing this webinar a little differently, maybe not quite as PowerPoint. There will be some more slides later about the Copilot specifically, but let me get out of this for a second here. End the slideshow momentarily and go into right into the program here and show you some stuff. So the first thing I want to show you is NITRO Studio. Now, some of you are familiar with it. We have created NITRO Studio over many years going back at least a dozen years or more, of how to make SharePoint at first with SharePoint on premises and later Microsoft 365 and Teams really powerhouses of application delivery. And we developed this whole set of tools that people can take and run with Nitro Studio. Some people have done 80 or 100 different forms, workflows, processes within their organization using our Nitro Studio. Once you get into the training, a little bit of familiarity, you're able to create all kinds of workflows, processes, and forms, workflows, processes that meet your needs. It could be just, ad hoc. You might have a project going for several months or a year, or it could be long-term applications. At the same time, we provide fully built applications. That's where the help desk comes into play. So the thing is to show you, this is not the HR help desk. It says HR help desk, but it means I'm in the HR help desk site. And what this is, the underlying layer. It's a little unusual to start the webinar from the bottom up like this, but I thought I want to introduce this as the foundation of the help desk and all the power and capabilities behind it. Now, if you're running in the help desk, you may not need to ever go here. But if you do have customizations, integrations, expansions, or you want to use Nitro Studio for other purposes besides HR help desk, some particular need you have, and people use it for all kinds of stuff, request management, approvals, forms, equipment and asset management, purchasing is a big one, onboarding. You can take and we work with you to make that happen. Just to show you what's going on, we have forms, actions, workflows, reports, and many other capabilities built into the system. And for example, if you want to do a form, you would just go in and build the form with our forms builder. If you want to do a workflow, you have our workflow builder. You have our custom, let's see, we have our custom action builder right here. It should be, simple or complex. Just to give you a little taste of that, we can go into that much more in depth when if you show interest and you want to dig into it more. Great tool for what they call citizen developers or low code, no code development, and a lot of interest. We did a lot with replacing InfoPath back years ago. In fact, still some people are still replacing InfoPath. And we're doing a lot with Nintex alternatives. Nintex raised its price quite significantly, and some people are finding that's overkill for what they need. And a nice tool like Nitro Studio can come in and fulfill the needs for much lower cost. So now we'll jump up a level, we'll say, to the actual HR help desk itself, which the staff side, what the staff is encountering. They're getting requests, whole list of requests that they have to deal with. They have to monitor them, assign them, make sure they're fulfilled, and enact various processes to make sure they go from initiation to fulfillment. And that's what our help desk is incredibly good at, because we have ways to track the status, assign, reassign, send notifications, email. You can interact with the user through email and other means to keep a track. Everybody's kept informed of the different state of the help desk ticket, of the HR ticket, the request. So that's what I wanted to point out right here. A lot going on. There's an agent workspace, there's all requests, there's a manager dashboard, here's the list of documents. When we get into Copilot, we can talk about the Copilot feedback. It's giving you different ways of looking at the data. Very easy to group and sort, and sorted by due date. Here we have open requests, unassigned, ones that need attention, overdue, all that is configurable with those tools in Nitro Studio to do what you need to do to get the information right in front of you and make your job easier and every request more obvious. If one goes overdue, for example, we can turn it red, we can send out notifications, we can do escalations on it. Let's take a look at one of these forms here. Now, we're going to get to how the form is created in a minute, how the request is initiated by the end users. That's going to come. We're now kind of working upstream here a little. So you have a form. Again, that form can be modified inside that Nitro Forms tool I showed you a few minutes ago. But if this is what you like, you can use it out of the box and never go to Nitro Studio. It's really up to you what your needs are. So this one was a change. This guy, John Smith, asked for a change in tax withholding. He needs to adjust his holding as per his accountant's recommendation. I guess he's tax season, so he went there. And they said, you're holding too much or too little or something like that, and now he's got to adjust it. So he put in a query on this, and HR has to deal with it. So one way to approach it, now this one's been assigned already to me. It's considered normal. So what I did, and when this came in, I went to send email, And I sent him, I used one of our default templates and said tax holding request. And I said, hi, John, please fill out a new form, send it back. Here's the link. This is a pre-canned template. Now you can have many, many of these pre-canned templates to send the email out with all the information. Click of a button, it goes to him. He's the requester. So it goes to John Smith with his email address, put some information in. The case ID gives him the ability to respond. And then if he does respond, that is added to the email history of this ticket, which you can see right here on the email history tab. This is the email I sent out. If he responds, he's going to, it's going to be attached here as email history. You can also add notes to the work log, and then you can have your staff, your staff tab tells you who's assigned to, whether it's a person or a team, resolve date, react, if it's closed and then reactivated, priority, and all this. And one interesting thing that really helps with a management is if you do resolve it, you can have a list of types of resolves, maybe it's end user education or something, and you put a note in, make, I don't know, whatever is a good resolution, then you can know that when you do a search for it, that was the resolution that solved the problem, and then you can use that again, cut and paste into another email, or if it's more complex, you might want to record that somewhere. So here we go, and the main screen is just basic information about the title, category, issue type, impact, urgency, and the requester and all that. You can have an additional contact who may need to be informed about this request. Quite interesting, and we've been doing this for many years, different ways, but I am going to go into the AI powered part. So hold on about the NITRO Copilot, and you'll find how this new layer adds a lot of very interesting capabilities to, well, any program, not just our HR help desk, IT help desk, request management, purchasing, we're finding many uses of what we call AI put to good use, a very specific use of it that's safe and contained, I think is a way to put it. So we're finding more and more organizations are willing to adopt AI in a limited manner and bring it into the usefulness. And AI is a very broad word, 2 letters like AI, right? A and I. But actually it's very broad subject with many different elements to it, different facets to it. And we are leading the charge as far as business process automation. We call it IBPA, Intelligent Business Process Automation, and bringing that into our programs, while at the same time maintaining our core programs for people who don't want to or unable or not ready yet to bring some of the AI elements into play. So I'll put a little bit more time on the basic program before I jump into the AI elements. Here's some examples to say I'm back at that change tax withholdings, highlight it. And of course, you can change the colors and all that if you don't like that, whatever color that is. You can go here and self-assign, resolve. These are all those custom actions I was talking to. Assign to someone, click the button, it happens, whatever that is set up. If I go to the custom action, for example, this one is resolve, it's going to resolve. What does resolve do? Well, you set up what it's going to do. It's going to update the list item, and it's going to pop up a question, pop up a box, a dialog box for the staff person to put in what the resolution was and what the notes are, and then go ahead and close it. So it just makes life easier to have these automations that are as simple as clicking a button. There are other, what I also showed you about workflows, these run automatically in the background. They tend to be a little more complicated, a little more complicated. Yeah, well, complication means you're automating more process, right? Your process automation is what we're talking about here. So you're automating processes. And that is what streamlining and automation is about. You're taking what would manually be done, but making it automated through certain functions that happen based on certain triggers. You call them triggers. Triggers like it goes overdue, or it's 1 week before expired, or like for a contract, for example, or it's something, the status changed, or some new information came in, email was received, any kind of action change, items added, deleted, modified, also timed events. It could be like every week send a report to the manager, all kinds of interesting things. In fact, I'm going to go a little bit more into this workflow thing just to give you some taste of the capabilities of this NITRO Studio and how we can, incredible amount of capabilities here. You can add any of these actions in any order with all these are gateways that say yes, no, A, B, kind of binary things. If this, go here. If that, then go over here and have different workflow routes. Create item, update an item in a list, delete it, manage permissions on the SharePoint, send an email, send a text if you have texting going, SMS texting, our linkage. You create a meeting in Teams. This is for AI, calculate embeddings, document intelligence. Every time a new document is added to a certain place in your system, it can then add it to the vector database that the AI uses through the calculating the embeddings and document intelligence. A little deep, I'll go into that a little bit. The inquiry list, move an item, invoke a workflow, invoke a web service, great ones. These are small, but you can do all kinds of REST APIs to connect to the different systems out there. Because one thing we feel about Microsoft 365 really is functions in some cases, especially with something like purchasing, as a front end to a back end system. So instead of buying a bunch of licenses to Oracle NetSuite or some other program for everybody, you just have to get them for all of the procurement people, the licenses for procurement people in the back end, and the front end, all the purchase requests, the approvals, the initiation, and all that's done through our system. And then you invoke a web service or invoke a workflow that then moves it over to the back end so that only the procurement people deal with it after it's been approved. And all the information is carried back and forth. And that works both ways, because the procurement people could say, oh, the order is coming in on next Wednesday, or it's been fulfilled, it's here to ready to pick up. So there's a communication back and forth between the systems. We do that with a large number of third-party outside systems that people are using. In HR, it might be with HR systems, like PeopleSoft or whatever, Oracle, we can send email, we can communicate with Teams channels, post adaptive cards, invoke Azure functions, parse a CSV file, use DocuSign for signatures, generate documents such as invoices or purchase orders or whatever. So, this isn't a NITRO Studio per se webinar, but I want to show that this HR Help Desk is incredibly capable of meeting your needs and your requirements in order with the high level adaptability. It's really not, I've worked in this business long time, and everybody's got their kind of idiosyncratic or particular processes, and rather than make the organization adapt to some kind of process that we think you should do, we adapt to your process. There's some kind of in between on that, but there is an idea that if you're doing things a certain way, then people are used to doing it that way, and change sometimes comes incremental, in it. All right, so on and on. So showing you all this. Now, what I want to do now, though, is jump over to the AI stuff before it gets too long in the webinar, because I think that's really interesting. So you notice up here, there's an HR Copilot. So the critical thing is, how are users going to enter in requests, tickets, and all that? Using our base, our system we have now without AI, they can send an email, they can go to an employee portal where they can fill out forms and stuff. Now this one has a Copilot in it, but this part over here of request, and we can adapt this so this part is out, and then it's just a matter of making a nice kind of intranet feel to how you submit forms, a whole list of forms like this. You can imagine a much longer list of everything. And they click it and it opens up, like, say, the emergency contact form, for example. They can fill it out, save it, send it over to HR, and then HR will know what to update in the emergency contact information for that person. It's just an example. So that's one way. I said email. Also, we have a Teams interface, so people can come in Teams and do more or less the same thing within the Teams environment here. And of course, this works on mobile and app. We have a Teams app also. So that's to me, those are pretty standard. I don't know if that's new to you guys, but this is stuff we've been doing so many years of how to create a ticket, use a form, use email, use web, you use Teams. But what's really interesting here is to go into the other aspect of this, which is the HR Copilot side of things right here, right? So I'm going to jump, before I start showing this, I'm going to jump back to that slide, that PowerPoint a bit, and give you some of the underneath here. I have all this raw file of it, but let me go back to the slideshow from the beginning. Let's see, from the current slide. Right here, I'll go from here. Current slide, here we go. So NITRO Copilot for HR. Before I jump into this, if anybody has any questions or interest in further in the demo, let us know. We'll go into actual questions in a little bit, but I'm saying that HR Help Desk is a very interesting tool that I think can provide a lot of benefit to anybody who's doing HR by emails or what other outdated process there is. Some people use InfoPath forms still and things like that. but also it applies to many other situations in your organization. Any kind of request management you may have. People have used it for marketing, for one crazy thing was well, I don't know if it's crazy, but Home Depot has these stands for tulip bulbs, and the company goes around repairing them. The company was using our program to note at which Home Depot the tulip bulbs that rack needed replacement or repairs or something like that. Somebody at the Home Depot would enter in a ticket or send an email, most likely, I think it was, but could enter a ticket in, and then it would be a tulip bulb rack in Home Depot number 2907 in Nashville, Tennessee needs work. You never know. We had another company in Canada that was tracking tanker trucks. How much maintenance was done on the trucks that deliver petrol, as they call it up there, but gasoline around to different locations, going by the number of kilometers and how many deliveries it made. It's just amazing to me how many different uses you can put this stuff to. It's really fascinating. Anyway, so we're talking now about real world AI. We're talking about NITRO Copilot for HR. We have NITRO Copilot for many uses, but now we're talking about particularly for HR. Why? Practical AI, safe, secure, provides real solutions, quick, easily reliable answers using targeted data set, staff benefits, reduced workload. It's easy to implement in that environment of the M365 and Teams. We did this for a large city, and it wasn't Washington, D.C., but Krista put that picture in there. We're going to have a case study on this coming out very soon too. They had 200, I think it was more like 300 policy and procedures documents with a wide range of HR topics. Users and staff, they were having trouble, finding out basic information. They'd have to keep sending emails, going back and forth. So we made this portal with a Copilot in it so they can find all this information based on that organization's targeted data set. There's important to keep saying that about targeted data set. And I keep saying that because it's very, very important that we're using the AI against a known vetted set of data. So I'll get to that slide in a moment, but right here is the results of this HR is end users get answers 24/7, any time of day, middle of night, Saturday night, they want to know what, I don't know, the dress code or something, or can they bring their dog to work? I don't know. Staff load is greatly reduced. Can use Copilot to craft email responses. I'll show you that, low cost and better service. And they experience 20% drop. I mean, simple inquiries and speed it up. Of course, everything's like that. So now this large city, it was actually had to do with housing. They are going to use a Copilot for the people who, they have housing, like apartments and condos and everything like that. Well, as if you ever live in a condo complex or an apartment building, there's CC&Rs, rules basically. So now we're developing a system where the residents can make a query into those CC&R rules and other related documents in order to get back, like, what's the parking policy at this apartment? What happens if this happens? What's the fee if my rent? Hopefully, you don't ask that too much. But what's the fee if I pay my rent late? Any kind of query you can make without having to go to call up the HOA or call up the housing authority and find out and all that. So many ways to expand the use of this into different data sets that provide information. Here's the whole idea about targeted versus open. Now, one of the problems with Copilot, Microsoft Copilot and all that, or using MS Graph, is that and this is the open data set model, you're going to find all kinds of stuff that, the AI will find all kinds of stuff that maybe you don't even know about. One of the big things with using MS Graph or open data set is you got to have your data governance locked down, baby, because if you don't, it's going to find stuff from like 5, 10 years. We found that. We said, well, and I was talking to James, just a few months ago, what? We didn't even know that the document was still out there, way outdated and all that. It's going to find everything that is related to the query made. So and it could contain, this is where it gets a little tricky, sensitive, confidential, biased data. I did a whole webinar on this about a year ago. The access control is very complex because you don't even know what, you have to go through a whole data governance model, as well as the fact of that what I call data exfiltration, meaning somebody inadvertently or inadvertently, if, whatever way, but hopefully only inadvertently sending out information that is sensitive or confidential because they grab something from AI and just send it out there. Instead, we use a targeted data set, a specific set of data, which means documents or a document library or a group of document libraries with known vetted data where access is tightly controlled, and there's a revision process to put that information in. Now, think about the HR docs. If your HR docs are available to anybody in the company, you sure as heck better make sure they don't have the sensitive confidential information. I mean, I almost guarantee they don't. If any HR competent HR department would never have that information available. So you can see, hopefully I'm conveying the difference between open and targeted, that what's in there, it's been vetted, it goes through a revision process, and that data is going to be that data that you're going to display through the AI. So you don't have to have the concerns that you do about sensitive, confidential, biased data. It's a big point. We have our NITRO Copilot architecture. We have data sources from, say, usually from SharePoint document libraries these days. The Copilot mechanics we use, all this code we wrote, the user engagement interfaces, and then the output. And there's this continuous loop of feedback to improve it. So like if there's a lot of questions about something, then you can improve the documents. Maybe everybody's asking about bringing their dog to work, and there's no dog. It's not, only limited information in the HR docs about bringing their dog to work. So you want to add a whole paragraph or section on that. I don't know. They want to bring their pet ferret to work, or lizard, or gecko, or whatever. Maybe a bird. Who knows? Their parrot on the. Anyway, get back to the point here. You never know what kind of questions you're going to get in HR. If you've been working in the HR department, be like, really? So one of the biggest concerns is data privacy and security when you use anything with Azure OpenAI. Here's Microsoft, right from Microsoft. Go to this link, read it yourself. What they are saying, and as much as you trust anything with Microsoft 365, you use an M365, which is a Microsoft platform, you'd have to have a certain level of trust going there already, right? So very important points. Not available to anybody else besides your organization. Not available to OpenAI, or Sam Altman, keep your hands off it, right? Not used to improve OpenAI models. Not used to train, retrain, or improve the foundation models. Not used to improve any Microsoft third-party services without your permission or instruction. Exclusively for your use. Okay, that's very important, of course, to get through the security and IT concerns of many organizations. And here it is in, well, basically black and white, or black and blue. I don't know, it's a little bit of blue, but black and white, let's just say for the sake of convenience, black and white, that this is what they're saying in this legal document right here. And you can find many, many documents or other documents similar to it. And Microsoft has to build that trust. Otherwise, how would you ever be comfortable using their OpenAI service, right? So we offer an end-to-end solution that easily implemented with minimal configuration. We help you with the configuration, integrates with our request manager, our help desk, IT and HR, fully supported by us. We can use different LLMs. We don't have to use OpenAI. We could use Claude 3 or others, and has mobile and Teams interfaces, mobile, web, and Teams interfaces. And there's several use cases. I talked about a few of them. We can think of like at least a dozen of these different kind of situations where this Copilot can be used. We're doing a lot in healthcare. We're even doing something where there's a whole bunch of caregivers at a particular large, healthcare facility. They have all this documentation. So we're working on, I don't say we have it yet, but working on developing quizzes where you use AI. Please develop a quiz, a 10 question quiz based on the information that's in this document targeted data set. And that is a way to get an educational aspect out of this also. It's really fascinating and amazing what you can do with this stuff. Anywhere and everywhere, yes, with specification manuals and documents. Okay, a number of other AI processes that we're working on. Probably overload right here to read all this, but basically, we're doing a lot. Let's just say we're doing a lot. And I'm going to go, anybody particularly interested, let's look at it right now. I think that's much more important. So I'm going to end the slideshow and go back to the actual system and start playing around with it right here, okay? Let's have some fun. Let's take the rest of this, maybe 10, 15 minutes here and go through some scenarios where we are showing what can and can't be done with with this. And again, this can be totally tweaked to your needs. There's all kinds of ways we can set the prompts, prompt engineering to fit your particular requirements and needs, whether we go to outside sources or not for information. So let's start with one right here. The interface is that we have some pre-canned prompts. You can change these all you want. We have an interface. You can dress this up how you want. But basically, the important thing is there's a chat box and there are buttons down here. You can start a new chat, end a chat, or send the question to HR. Like, you didn't get an answer, send it over. It becomes an HR ticket. All right. So here's one that we use a lot. Let me bring it here, right? Just so it's possible. I'll copy it over here so I don't have to type it. I need to change my emergency contact information. Something happened, new phone number or whatever. So you say, okay, the user comes here, like I say, 24/7, any time of day, no engagement with the HR people at all, no sending in a ticket, taking up staff time. They get the answer right here. Change your emergency contact info. You need to follow steps. Go here, get this form, fill it all out. Here's some links and let's call sources, citations. We have a disclaimer at the bottom. You can change the disclaimer to say whatever you want. You can rate it, you can copy it, you can email it. But just take a look at the actual content that was delivered by this query to AI. Okay, click the link below to access emergency contact information. Okay, I'll click that. So you click it, it brings up the form right there with my name. I'm logged in person. I got to change the phone number. Who put that in there? But anyways, I might have some specific thing that actually makes sense in the specific instructions. Change it. These is all just made up stuff. So, maybe I want to change it to somebody else, Sally Parker or something. I don't know, just making stuff up here. And you can even get a signature going here, right? And if you're on a cell phone doing this, you can get use your stylus or something in the title, all that. And then you can save that and it's going to, send it into HR for processing, right? And then you can do something like, if you use one of the pre-canned prompts, you can go here and say, what are the paid holidays at Crow Canyon? Well, that's good, but what are the actual dates in 2025? Let's see if it does that. Comes back. Oh, it did it earlier. I changed the prompt and it didn't do it. Let me. Okay, that happens sometimes. Holiday dates in 2025. We're working on coming up with how best to prompt this. Yeah. Okay, so let's end that chat. Sorry, it did last time. It did. Oh, I know why. Let me get this. There's several different things we have going here. I want to go to this one. Okay, that's why. What are the paid holidays? Okay, what are the dates? The thing is, that was an employee portal copilot, which has the prompt different than the one that I'm using now. There's some prompt engineering that goes on behind the scenes. In fact, I'll show you right now. The configuration of this copilot, you go to HR policies copilot, and you can see that there are different configurations so that, we were looking at two different copilots. I went to the employee one and I should have gone to this one over here because I have it set up that way. So you have, all the different information, how to set up that initial screen. You have your prompts, and this prompt up here is where you're pre-prompting. It's called prompt engineering of what to put out there, and then you have these 4 different pre-canned prompts. You can add a new one, you can arrange it, you can make it different. You can have certain actions that are part of it, which we have right now, send to HR, and you can change the colors if you want of that green and white. So let's go back to what I was just doing right there, making sure this time I'm on the right one, right here. And we were here, you see the green and white and the look of this, the look and feel and all that. So dates, what are the dates in 2025? 2025, enter. Yeah, there we go. See, that's depends how you have it configured, because what we can do in this, and I'll go back to the configuration screen. This is important. What's really important is that you can tweak and adjust this using our expertise and our knowledge as we do this, and then what we gain from working with many of these people where we already set up these copilots, how to do these prompts just right. so that cuts the information. We also have restrict response only to given context. So you're not going to pull in answers from the outside world at all. Quite interesting how much you can tweak it and adjust the dials, fine tune it to your particular requirements. See, now it came up with all the dates of these holidays, right? So it depends what model you're using, right? What prompts you're using. Let's do a new chat. No, again, you could email it. You could email it. You could copy it, or you could send it to HR. That's that action we were just talking about. If you wanted to, I don't know why you want to do this, but if it wasn't giving you the right answer, you might want to. So let's do a new chat and talk about something kind of interesting. How do I update? Well, I'll go through several of these. How do I update my federal tax withholding? Let's see what it comes up on this. One time I want to do this webinar and have Pete in the audience put up some questions about, try this, Scott, and see what comes up. So here's how you update your federal tax. You do all this stuff, download the form. Now, compare this to getting the ticket into the, where I go right here, where is it? It's right here somewhere. Let me go back here to, anyway, you get the ticket into your list there in, let me just go here and go back to the list here. No, let's go back. Hold on once, I'll get there in a second. I'll get out of this screen. Okay, trying to say here, if you're sticking with me, I hope you are, that you get this, the alternative, you get this thing about changing tax withholding as a ticket that now the staff has to configure, has to handle and manage, assign, and work with, right? Okay, that's okay. It works. It's fine. You get it, but think of the difference between that and going here and just saying, the person put in a query, they got all this information, here's a W-4 form, do all this stuff, send it in, and bada bing. This did not engage HR at all. No staff time was taken up. So this is a real world example of saving staff time and streamlining operations by having your Copilot do the heavy lifting like this for you. And as you tweak it, as you adjust it, you use that feedback loop I was talking about earlier, you're going to find it gets better and better and better results from it. And it's quite fascinating how it grows like that. So there you go. Nobody involved does it, submits it in, and the next thing you get a form where the W form's all filled out properly and with all these instructions, and you don't have to write back this thing. Oh, here's the form, and then wait for the form to come. And you can see, hopefully, see how advantageous that can be. So let's go to another one. Here's one that I personally have a lot of fun trying to see what I can do with this. Is hugging considered harassment? Let's go to a case where maybe there's some problem in the office and the person's like, is hugging harassment? I don't know, let's see what it says. Whether hugging is considered harassment depends on blah, blah, blah. Okay, zero tolerance, it's giving all this information. But what is the Crow Canyon policy on hugging, right? Well, that's good, but how about more specific information, right? I know it seems a little silly, but things come up like this, right? Why not? It's HR, right? It's people, it's people. So at Crow Canyon says, now it's emphasizing it in a different context, right? And giving you references to go with. Next thing might be, where can I report unwelcome hugging? Now that you know that if it's unwelcome, you can report it. Okay, let's go. See what it says. Your manager, HR department, supervisors, key reporting. It's giving you lots of information right there, and quite interesting. Now, here's another thing that we want to emphasize here. If I was using a staff member using this, I can also ask the Copilot, not have to just end users. It could be staff. In fact, here's what I'm gonna do. Do a new chat. Say I'm a staff member, generate an email to James about our disability policy. Now, in once you get going with our system, these things will be pre-canned prompts in the staff thing to generate an email, and it'd be part of the ticket. Instead of that send email where I got to go choose a template, it would generate it automatically based on this. Let's see what it does right here. Oh shoot, I clicked the wrong thing. Let's go right here. There we go. Dear James, or hi James, whatever. Subject: information on Crow Canyon's disability accommodation policy. Best regards, whatever. It wrote the friggin' email. Here you go. And it's like even nice about it. Hope this email finds you well. I want to take a moment to provide you information on Crow. Now, you as an HR person can take this. Actually, you can just copy this right here, this with the copy thing, and go over here to your mail. And what do you want to do? It's weird. I'll allow. Go email and do a new email and just paste it in right here, right? We are going to make it so that it operates right from the HR ticket itself. Well, there you go. Subject here. Hi, James. Like that, right? Oops. And then you're ready to send it. Basically, I mean, you got to change your name and your title down here, and put in James Restivo like that, right? And then it's it's able to be sent, right? Send makes life a lot easier. I'm telling you. So we're back to that. Quite interesting, huh? Really, really interesting stuff. Then, like I say, if it doesn't answer it, you can always send it over to HR. So let's do another new chat. Here's something interesting. Where is this guy still, there's something with the EEOC one, which is actually one of our customers, EEOC, down in DC. Where is the nearest, just an aside, a little plug for Crow Canyon there, where's the nearest EEOC office? Huh? Where is it? It's looking. Find it, go to this link. Well, that's not good enough. Look, Mr. Copilot, I am in Benicia, duh, right? In Benicia, you know that, California. Oh, it says, oh, geez, I didn't know that. I'm going to give you the right office now, right? That is pretty cool. I don't know. First, it gives you kind of a general, but if you tell you where it is, it's giving you the actual office and all the information. You can copy it and go to the website. I don't know. I find that pretty cool. Pretty cool stuff. So, and it goes on and on what we can do with this capabilities here of this. We're really exploring new ground. And I want, if I may ask, think about it in larger terms, like for an IT help desk, for marketing, for specifications in a contract, for we're working with, we haven't got, let me just say, we're starting to work with a construction company, and they have so many specifications and things and contracts and things. We're also doing things like this with AI, where one of our products, and I really like this thing. If anybody is in Australia, I don't think that Australia is up and running right now, but ethijourney.com is our property. We work with retirement. This is our property here, asset management software for retirement homes and aged care operators in Australia. There are a lot of people using it down there. They have a lot of government regulations, so we're doing a lot of AI to, give people easy access to this massive amount of government regulations. Very regulated. That's all I can say. It's very regulated down there in Australia, for good. Good for the people, maybe a little bit of overboard for the operators. There's different opinions about that, I guess you could say. But having an AI tool that helps them go through all these massive amounts of documentation and the strength and standards and all that kind of stuff that they have down there, it's a whole world in itself. This whole wheel of standards, and each one has substandards and sub-standards, and for aged care management, it's all good, I mean, in the long run, but to navigate that large set of documentation is difficult. And like I said, the other thing is, when we do asset management with this, they have to generate 10-year plans based on, say, when they buy 50 dishwashers for their retirement village, they have to have 10-year management plans. And now we have the ability just to say, hey, ChatGPT, do me a favor. Can you please generate a 10-year plan for Bosch washer model XYZ 125, whatever? Goes out there, finds it, and creates a 10-year plan that we then incorporate into the asset management software as a contract or document in the folder. And I just want to bring that up. It's very interesting stuff you can do with these things. Very, very interesting. And then the other stuff, I think I'll bring this over. Let's see. This. Well, it's kind of the raw slide, but you guys can, let me do it this way from current slide. Okay, all the other processes, which I kind of overwhelmed you with before, but other things we're bringing in as far as AI into automation, IBPA, Intelligent Business Process Automation. We're at a preliminary stage. We would love to have discussions with anybody on what their needs are, how they can be incorporated, what they see. We're all learning together on this. We're all moving together on how to best use AI in the most safe, secure ways, but also provide the benefits that it promises. So we have AI-based, we have the NITRO Copilot, I was showing you, we have AI-based routing. A ticket comes in based on certain information in the ticket itself, or the title, the description, or if it's an email, in the subject and body of the email. AI is able to determine where it should go, perhaps. It takes some tweaking. We can look at the sentiment and say, well, man, this guy's angry, or they're happy, or whatever. Look at sentiment analysis and then take action based on what is perceived by AI to be a disturbed customer, for example, or something needs immediate attention. AI email response generation, where it comes in and then automatically responds. That's our first responder thing. We can automatically categorize, prioritize. Those are all very interesting ways to make the help desk more efficient and streamlined. Again, we are very cautious, just like I'm sure you are, about using it more than it's needed. It's all this, the Sorcerer's Apprentice from Fantasia, where, things get out of control very easily. That's not what we want. These are used in very particular cases and shown effectiveness before it goes beyond that. And a lot of it depends on what kind of document sets and what kind of knowledge you have that's being used. So there's a lot of data work to get the data where you need it. But once you get through this and we work with you on it, the AI starts to really hum and be a very, very useful tool. It's like, maybe we should change our logo, our motto to AI done right. We say AI put to practical use. Maybe say AI done right or something. I don't know. So then we have agents. Oh boy, the agentic frameworks and all that. Oh, hey, come back here. Agentic framework to do automatic work, password resets, account unlocks. Again, very preliminary on that. Use the ticket data to create knowledge bases, go into multimodal where the person doesn't have to type it in like I was doing, but could use voice, especially on a cell phone or something, to say, what's the disability policy, and then have it interpreted and make the case that way, or use images, video. I was out in some foreign country. I took a picture of a bird, put it in Google. It told me what kind of bird it was, Brahmini starling in India. So it was like, wow, that's pretty cool. So there's all kinds of things you could do. If you're doing maintenance, take a picture of a part, perhaps get something back that says, oh, that looks like it's a part for here. Here's where to order it. All kinds of cool stuff can happen with images and video. You can see, pull up similar problems from other tickets. We want to support more than OpenAI, Claude, Gemini, others. Summarize tickets, generate the maintenance plans, embed the Copilot in the ticket, and data distillation and analytics using AI. So a lot of stuff we can do and are doing, and we'll work with you to do. Now, James, do you have any questions or anything going on there?
Yeah, we got a few questions coming in. One of them was asking about, since it kind of recently went over the PDF email that was attached to the email that was generated. Someone was interested in seeing what that PDF was.
What PDF? What was that? Was it an email I sent?
The email that you're sending to me, I guess, apparently.
There wasn't a PDF on it. You could attach a PDF if you want to, but
yeah, I don't. Okay, maybe the person can write back, because maybe it was on the Copilot interface itself, maybe not in the email.
Yeah, because this is, you could definitely attach anything you want here onto this email. Just add an attachment, right?
Yeah. Okay, so I'll see if there's any follow-up on that one. But the another question was, from the HR help desk, could you use it to provision a new employee? And I did respond to this, and I said that it's not directly possible with the HR help desk right now, but it is something that could be added with the fact that we're already leveraging the Graph API in Office 365, and we can invoke APIs from workflows. It seems like it would be possible to do that. It's just not a feature of the product at the moment.
Right. What the thing we found with onboarding, as you know, James, working over the years, it's very particular processes in every company. So we can develop an onboarding solution for people, but it would have to be a more of a engaged, SOW and custom project. But given that we have so many elements already there, it's just a matter of piecing things together in particular ways and writing different workflows. It's definitely a very doable thing. And like you say about provisioning, with our workflow, NITRO workflow engine, we can affect Active Directory. We can take action that, like run scripts that invoke certain processes, let's call it, inside of Active Directory, or Entra ID as they call it now. But basically Active Directory is what it is when you come down to it.
We did have another good question just came in about the Copilot and how are the prompts managed, what kind of governance is in place, and that kind of thing. And I think just to while you're pulling it up and getting ready, the short answer is that it's all governed by whoever is managing it on your team. So you would have governance over it. You would have the ability to go in and change the prompt if you felt it needed to be tweaked. You have the ability to point it to a particular resource of documents, to the targeted data we were talking about earlier. You can control what goes in there. So one of the implementations we worked with a company on is that they have an access control or a revision policy when it comes to their HR documents, and so it goes through approval. So that document doesn't even go into the library in SharePoint until it's gone through an approval process. Now, once it's in the library, there's workflows that we have in place that will, analyze that document and put it in a make it consumable for the Copilot. So, long story short is that you have ultimate control of the management of the Copilot, what data it's accessing, and so you have a lot of control over that. So it's not just out there free in the wild. I think that's the benefit of these targeted Copilots and targeted AIs, is it's not just wild in the open. Yes, it does go get information from the World Wide Web occasionally, but that's only if it can't find the information in the primary sources that you've pointed it to. So I hope that answers.
To add on to that, James, we now, we've added this restrict response to given context, and also we have this prompt. This is like the pre-prompt. You're telling it what to do, and this is something where it takes prompt engineering, and we test this all the time. Different, even just one word can make a difference sometimes in there, or how you tell it, and it depends what model you're using too. So that's something that we are, we keep on track of. We have a library of prompts, prompt engineering, and I've been playing with it a lot, seeing how different words can make different sentences, different words can make different responses, and you can restrict it. So it's like, I feel like our Copilot gives you a lot of ability to turn the dial. If we have one customer who's using it, just only wants what's in the knowledge base, nothing else. Only what's in their set of documents, nothing else. So if I did it, where I guess it was, I already took it off, but where is the EEOC office nearest me? It wouldn't find it because it doesn't know in that set of documents. It's only going to refer to the set of documents in there. So there's a period. If you restrict it too much, only specific information that's in the document set you have there, right? Now, if I had a list of EEOC offices in there as a document in the document library, well, basically HR docs, let's look at this for a second. Look, James, there's only about 7 or 8 documents in here.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And these are 7 or and you could add more documents, but like you're saying, you don't get it the way with the document management system that we can implement. You can say that it's only it comes in, it can sit in the library, but a workflow runs. This is something that takes a little looking at the chain of causation, chain of event. You put a document in here, our workflow runs on it, in our workflow as far as document intelligence and calculate embeddings on that. When a new item is added to that library, it then does the calculate embeddings and document intelligence. But that can be said only if it's in release mode. If the document status is pending or draft, it would not do that. It wouldn't run the workflow until a status change. So you could have a workflow runs when item is added, or just make it so only when the status changes to revise to a next revision. Does that make sense, James? Am I that right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that makes sense.
it doesn't categorically use every piece of information in here. It uses whatever's been calculated, because the idea is basically this, and for all the people who are into the underworkings of all this, and this is true of any document library, any list, any database, the AI, it has to be vectorized. It has to go to a vector database. That's what Azure AI Search does and Document Intelligence does. It turns it all into what they're called embeddings. In other words, numerical representations of the actual words and data that's in the document. In a strictest sense of the word, it's not using the document directly. It's using the vectorized version with the embeddings of it to do the search. It's simple, but it's also complex at the same time. Simple maybe to state, but it's complex to implement. But we've done all that heavy lifting for you, so there's no worry there. So it only goes into the uh, um, search that's used by AI. AI is talking this kind of like mathematical language, so it has to have a mathematical representation of the document in there. But when it gets the document gets mathematically represented, it is determined by workflows that are running on this document library. Other point is you can have multiple document libraries and lists have it working, or you can have multiple copilots working on different lists. We have different, you might have a set of information for one department that's different than a set of information for another department. No reason you can't run multiple copilots based in different foci. Is that the right word? Focuses. I don't know, foci, whatever the plural of foci. It sounds weird, but focuses. Each one having different focus, a different focus. How about that? Each one having a different focus. So it's quite fascinating. And I know we got a little way from HR Help Desk, but we're trying to say that there's this new upcoming way of interacting with a request management or help desk or IT by giving the users a way to make queries and get information. And let me stop myself right there. It's not just users, it's staff to generate those emails and get the answers that they need. The users can use the old traditional ways of I mean, it's funny to say that, but the ways we're commonly used to right now of creating tickets and sending in forms, if that's what's needed, because you don't want to, users are not ready for this. But the staff can certainly jump on the train here and start using it within a ticket to use the Copilot as well. That's why it's called Copilot, right? It's to help you. It is AI assistant to help you answer all these queries coming in by just generating an email or looking it up yourself in your Copilot right here and finding out what is a good response, then copy and pasting it right into the system, right? So I just got married and need to add spouse to benefits to insurance. I haven't tried this one. This is brand new. I just I'm winging it right here. See what happens. Congratulations. I don't know, funny how it says congratulations on your marriage. It's like funny. Here's the following steps. I didn't try this before this webinar. Here it goes. So giving a lot of information right there, right? And that is, you have to decide, is that coming from your docs if you're using you're restricting it, or is it coming from a wider source? That depends on how you set your prompt. And then from there, it's like, okay, that's all good. Now, how do I use that information to do something effective and make some, maybe have to fill out some forms or whatever. But it certainly saves a lot of time and money. Money being, time. Time is money. So, all right, we're getting up on the top of the hour. James, anything else before we drop off? Because I want to be respectful of the hour time. Nothing else? We're
Sorry,
good?
there's one final question I wanted to get out there before we end the webinar. There was a question about automation from the AI that generates the emails to open Outlook and put that text in there with attachments instead of a copy and paste. And I think the answer there is that we are working on a way to incorporate that AI generation of text within the HR ticket itself, so that if you're the person, you can do it within the HR system. You create a ticket for yourself and then generate the AI from that context, and then send along. So we are working on those kinds of integrations and those kinds of ways to make it easier to do it. So you know,
Yeah.
there will be more robust integration between what the Copilot's doing and what the you know, the HR ticketing system itself can do. So there will
Well,
be some.
yeah, but we already have the ability to send an email over. See if I can find it. Yeah. If I want to, what this does is emails to myself, right? So if I go here and I say email,
Mm-hmm.
there's not much of a jump to pop up an email that then you can then send, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
So it should show up here at some point in this, box right here. And maybe it has to run a process, but here's one that was from the past that I did from there, right? What are the paid holidays at Crow Canyon? And then if you wanted to send that, you just forward it to somebody. So it's already constructing an email without cut and paste already. It's one step in that direction.
Yeah.
I know
You know, we
we
might
probably
want to.
could,
We
yeah,
probably
it might,
add more to it, but yeah.
was that, yeah, we could add more to it or make it so that in that Copilot screen right here, it doesn't just send the email, but it pops it up and then says, are you ready to send it? By we call like some SMTP server or something at that point, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I think, and I think just kind of maybe touch on a question from earlier from the individual. Those PDFs underneath the response are
Oh, this, I
what,
see what he means. Yeah, here
what
it is. The one that I
it's
just
what
got
the
married one came in. See?
yeah, it's what the Copilot has referenced to produce its answer from your targeted content.
Yeah, you could take this out anything you want, add them, not add them. Yeah, so there you go. That is pretty close to what you'd want to do. So then you just forward it and you'd have all this information in here. Take that out probably, but you can modify this as ever you want. And to the person, whoever you're sending it to, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's going
Exactly.
to do that, however you want to.
Right. You modify it from there.
Yeah. There you go. There you go. Or even take all this out if you want. I don't know.
Yeah.
Oops. So there we go. Right? Pretty cool. So there you go. All formatted and send it over to James, right? Yep. And forward it. Take out any PDFs you don't want. That's an easier way, I think, by just using that, send it over. It's already in the email format. And then you just take it and modify it a bit. And I think that's right too, James. You should vet it out and make sure it's right, not just send it, categorically without reviewing it,
Yeah.
because, you're sending a document from HR that would, um, perhaps have some legal consequences or something. I don't know, right?
Right.
Or it could have sensitive information or something. You want to be careful. So having it go through a human before sending is good. Send it to yourself is no problem because you're sending to yourself, right? I mean, you got to sue yourself. I don't know. I guess you could. Like one of those movies where the same actors on both sides of the table or something. I don't know. I'm thinking of some movie like that with Jim Carrey, I guess. Anyway, all right. So I think we're good. I hope this was anything else, James, or before I, wrap up shop here.
No, I think we're good.
All right. Well, thank you for helping. Thanks, Krista. She was in the back end. And let me get this back up on the. You can contact us, get in touch with us, say hi. Not just say hi, but say hi if you want. But ask for a demo. Talk more, find out more in detail. It's a fascinating subject that we find is providing enormously potential of use in many organizations, and we've implemented it at, like I said, a large city, manufacturing companies, healthcare facilities. So it's gaining traction, and we're quite excited. So thank you all for attending. Hope you all have a wonderful day, and hopefully talk soon. Thanks, James. Thanks, Krista. Have a good day. Bye-bye.
Thank you all. Bye.
Thanks, everyone.